Hello! So back. More Higurashi. Please let me know if the audio needs any fixing, otherwise we just go for it.
Found it. Should open if I do this.
Oh! What'll we do if there's a terrifying ghost trapped in there?
Then you two can have a staring contest to determine which one's the stronger apparition.
Rika! Are they fighting? The strange repetitive sound they heard was coming from the other side of a sturdy door, labeled the emergency storage room. Someone was slamming themselves against the thick metal door. That idea made the most sense, at least.
But why the emergency storage room?
Maybe someone was using it as a jail cell.
Who? When? For whom?
Even I, Oyashiro-sama, don't know that.
Suppose that's true.
The door to the emergency storage room was the type being locked from the outside. Given that something kept hitting it in there was probably no way to unlock it from inside. Once she came back with the master key, the sound stopped for a moment. Maybe they were worn out from hitting it so much. Either that, or they had gone quiet as Rika and Hanyuu approached and were lying in wait for them.
I'm opening it.
Anytime you're ready. She inserted the key and slowly turned it. There's no way that an L5 patient was being kept quarantined in there, right? If there was, then the moment she opened it, they could leap out from inside and start attacking her.
That won't happen. There's no way Irie and the others would do something so senseless as locking a victim up in a place like this.
Is it Satoshi? Or is Satoshi unconscious? Even for the 100-year-old witch Rika, it was hard to fight the curiosity of finding out what lay behind that door. She didn't have any interest in this crazy world, but she could die at any time. So she wanted to see what happened to the world up until the very end. It wasn't some noble desire to watch over its demise, but the slightly wicked curiosity of wanting to see something scary. Ooh, that's a new background. Hello! She slowly opened the heavy door. Through the slight crack came the foul, hot scent of sweat mixed with something rotten. The smell made her imagine something more filthy than frightening. There was a light on the inside, and a sweaty man who was collapsed on the floor slowly raised his head. Tomitake!
Tomitake.
Hey, Rika-chan. You saved me.
What were you doing in a place like that?
Who knows? At the very least, it wasn't something I chose. Rika, look at the pipes in the back.
Handcuffs.
Fastened to the pipes at the back of the storage room were a pair of broken handcuffs. He was almost certainly bound up in them before. Just how long had he been held captive in there, though? Judging from his surroundings, it had to have been more than a day. It couldn't be. Had he been locked up in there since this whole commotion started? He was worn down and exhausted, but it looked like he had just barely held on to his mind. By the way, has anything happened outside over the past few days?
Not much. In fact, it's finally quieted down.
Rika.
The villagers expressed terminal symptoms one after another. Now it's spread beyond the village and into Okinomiya as well.
That's terrible. What about Takano-san?
Speaking of her, I haven't seen her since this commotion started.
Would you summon Director Irie here at once? Something terrible is going to happen.
Something terrible has already happened. And ended.
No, something even more terrible is going to happen. Takano-san is planning to spread Hinamizawa syndrome to all of Japan. No, the entire world.
Apparently, it had all started several days back. Tomitake had already been locked up in here back when everything was peaceful, before anything had happened.
Yippee! Yippee! Hi, Kimono, how are you? Yippee! Another yippee! Yippee! You awake, Jiro-san? He had been forced to breathe in from an ammonia bottle. Tomitake's body wavered like heavy lead as he slowly looked up at Takano. Good, but behind on your work schedule? Oh no! Good luck catching up. I'm also doing good. I'm vibing. A little eepy, but that's normal. He tried to move his legs, but felt a cold, heavy sensation against them. Looking down, there were handcuffs on his ankles that were fastened to the pipes. Takano-san, what kind of joke is this? Joke? Heavens, no! This is truly a divine revelation. What are you talking about? I've been chosen by God. Yes, this was all a divine revelation. Takano's eyes looked like she was delirious with fever, though she herself was probably calmer than ever. Still, to Tomitake's eyes, she looked like she was drunk on some strong liquor and caught up in a daydream. Wish you would calm down. Could you explain this so that I can understand? A whole week Turnary? We should name every 19th week of the year Turnary week. 19th week of the year? I think we're way past that, but, you know, we take it. Congrats on the 7-stream streak, though. Yes. Thinking about it, it wouldn't be that hard to explain in a way that you can understand. But I must tell you, even if you don't understand what it means at all. I don't know your favorite number. Oh. I'm basic. 7. So you still want to tell me then? I'm a little honored. Thank you for saying that. You really are a special person, Jiro-san. And you'd tie this special person up in a place like this? That's why she tied you up, bro. I want you to stay here until the world is finished transforming into a new one. What are you plotting? No plot this time. It's a divine revelation. I've been chosen by God. Tomitake wasn't a fool. He had a vague idea of what Takano was plotting from that exchange. Don't tell me you're trying to cause something terrifying to occur, are you? There might be something terrifying indeed, but it's God's revelation. I have a feeling something wonderful is about to happen too. You're not planning to take the virus we're researching out of here, are you? I'm positive that all of our research has been for the sake of this day. God has chosen me. He understands my noble purpose. Stop it. I don't know who's instigating this, but that's not a divine revelation. It's the whisper of a devil. A devil? What a cruel thing to say. Perhaps you can't see their divine glory. Well, of course you can't. You're just an average person. Takano pulled something out of her pocket and tossed it to Tomitake. It was a box with a syringe and a bottle of medicine. He recognized it. It was the new prophylactic for the Hinamizawa syndrome, though that was only supposed to be in development still. If you would like to witness the new world, then inject that into yourself. If you're fortunate, then you'll avoid an acute outbreak. Stop this. You can still turn back from this. Talk this out with me, and undo these handcuffs first. Takano slowly lifted the attaché case sitting at her feet. It wasn't an ordinary Hello? It wasn't an ordinary attaché case, though. It was a special one, used to transport N-173. If she spread its contents through the air, then a wide range of people would contract Hinamizawa syndrome, eventually reach L5, and cause a terrifying disaster. For Takano, researching the syndrome was her way of proving her grandfather's great work to be true, so it was a holy act akin to worshipping God. He knew that. Yet an outbreak of Hinamizawa syndrome and the terrifying ruin that it would bring about should not be her goal. He couldn't even imagine what sort of delusions had come to possess her. But she was prepared to do it. Without hesitation. See you later, Jiro-san. If you're lucky, we'll meet again. Since this is an emergency storage room, you should find food and water within your reach. Knowing you, you'll be able to take care of those handcuffs too. Even if I lock the store from the outside, right? As long as he had time, then Tomitake was certain he could break out of the handcuffs. But that would grant Takano plenty of time to carry out her terrifying ambition. Wait! Hold on! Takano-san! Wait! Are you planning to destroy the world? Heavens no! I'm going to save humanity as God has revealed to me, by letting his cute little children here fly free. That's the whisper of the devil! You mustn't listen to it! I hear the devil is elsewhere. Huh? The devil trying to destroy humanity has already appeared. God told me, and he told me I'm the only one who can stop it. What you're about to do really is the work of the devil. Don't let yourself be fooled by him. Don't worry. After all, God is always with me. Farewell. I'm going to Okinomiya. You're there, right? Yes, I know. Not the tiny little laugh. How could this be? Oh.
As expected, I guess. That woman never learns. So it's her fault again.
We're too late. What a disaster. Tomitake was captured right before the incident and had been shut inside here up until today. It was all too late for him to do anything. Takano had already spread the infection far beyond the village. Maybe she's already spread it to the entire city, or even the entire prefecture. Tomitake shook his head many times as Rika described the present situation. The reality was hard for him to accept, but the gruesome sight of the researchers who murdered each other or took their own lives wouldn't permit him to consider otherwise. Tomitake entered the security room and started fiddling with the radio, but it didn't look like he was going to be able to contact anyone outside. According to the emergency manual, in the event of an outbreak of Hinamizawa syndrome, they are to employ jamming waves throughout the region in order to prevent the spread of chaos. Of course, the phone lines were down too, so there was no way to get the crucial information about Takano's involvement to those outside. Apparently, they've already escalated to hazard level X2.
What does that mean?
It means the syndrome has spread to Shishibone City. At present, the city is quarantined off from the outside, and all the bridges have been blocked off. Hopefully Tokyo manages to do something with that time.
So all we can do is wait?
Unfortunately, that's not the case. We can't leave Takano-san on the loose. Get her! She had said, "A devil has appeared to destroy humanity. I'm heading to Okinomiya. That's where you are, isn't it?" I don't know what she's calling a devil, but...
We can't afford to let her have her way any more than she already has, right?
That's right. Takano-san is most likely still within the city. If the bridges have been blocked off, then Takano can't get out either. If she's planning to take N-173 and spread it beyond the city, then she can't afford to be captured. She should still be in Okinomiya.
Tomitake, I'll help too.
It's dangerous. You should hide down here.
Right now, Okinomiya is dangerous even for you, Tomitake.
There are lots of young people in Okinomiya. They'll be much more dangerous after handing their heart over to a demon.
I'm the Queen Carrier. If I'm not mistaken, I should have the power to calm down nearby infected.
Now that you mention it, I suppose that's true.
Trying to be a gentleman towards me is less important than capturing Takano and preventing the further spread of harm.
Still, if anything were to happen to you...
The worst possible outcome is already happening. Even if I were to die, things wouldn't get any worse than they already are.
She has a point. Preventing the situation was exactly why they had to prevent disaster from befalling Rika. But their worst fear, a mass outbreak of level 5 symptoms, was already taking place without Rika's death. It made sense to him. Logically, the situation couldn't worsen. Besides, if Takano remained at large, it was likely that things would become even more disastrous. Either she would spread Hinamizawa syndrome throughout Japan, or this thing she called a devil would move to interfere.
If they're a devil for Takano, then the enemy of our enemy is our ally.
You have a point there. Alright, we don't have time to waste on debates.
Don't stop me, Hanyuu. I'm doing this to save the world, you know.
Oh, it looks like you're enjoying this. Let's go, to find Takano-san. Tomitake borrowed a car parked at the clinic. In this world, not dissimilar from a zombie apocalypse, a car was the same as a moving shelter, so long as no zombies sprang up from the back seat. The car was heading into Okinomiya. Rika and Hanyuu were relaxing in the back seat.
I was planning to wait quietly for all of this to settle back down in Hinamizawa, but I've changed my mind. If this is Takano's plot, then I have to interfere.
Still, what on earth could that devil of hers be?
Who knows? Maybe someone like us. Hanyuu?
Yes. Apparently it is someone like us.
Huh?
Oh? Though they had just been inside the car, it felt like their souls were floating up out of their bodies. Next thing they knew, Rika and Hanyuu found themselves in a strange, dreamlike world. What was happening? That sensation. Hanyuu's expression had grown solemn, like when she spoke of her past 1,000 years ago. That was when something akin to mist began to flicker and coalesce into human shape.
What? Who?
It's someone I hope to never see again. Even the 100-year witch Rika was left bewildered, because she had never heard Hanyuu utter those words before. Someone Hanyuu never wanted to see again. Human-shaped mist. An inhuman being taking human form. To think we should meet again, Hamurahime no Mikoto. Who? Oh, hello. Creature. Leader of the Horned People, Hanyuu. I've had no desire to meet with you once more. I could return those exact same words. Why must I see you like this again?
You aren't usually so hostile.
We are enemies who refuse to accept one another. You must not trust her.
Guess you monsters hate your own kind.
I will not permit you to call me the same as that demon not even hiding her horns. Know your place, priestess of the Horned People. Rika got a sudden headache from her sharp gaze. Her hardened eyes carried not only supernatural power, but enough rejection and scorn to cause physical pain. Thinking back, Rika had only ever received constant respect. No matter how many hundreds of deaths or years she had lived through, she had never faced down such a hostile gaze before. Rika could only gulp hard in the face of that. Hanyuu, do you understand why I have appeared before you? What do you make of this disaster below us? Slowly, the mist cleared beneath their feet. Finally, Rika understood. They weren't inside mist, but inside a cloud. Below them was a sight like one might see from an airplane. Even without straining their eyes, they could tell the city of Okinomiya was below. Black smoke rose from various points in the city, and they could see a dark haze hanging over it. When they focused their eyes even more, they could see the people who gave their hearts over to the demons, killing each other in the streets. Oh, she's tiny! I thought she was big! Oh, she's so little! She's a baby! What an awful sight. Shudder with the weight of your own sin. All of this is the work of your kind. No shame, leader of the horned people. From the perspective of humans like Rika, Takano was at fault. But from the perspective of inhuman beings like Hanyuu, the disaster below was all Hanyuu's fault. After all, N-173 was Hanyuu. It was the horned people. Hanyuu bit her bottom lip, unable to refute her claims. Takano had conducted this research to turn the horned people ferocious. Hanyuu wasn't to blame for that. But that being said, these inhuman beings wouldn't allow a human to be blamed for that sin. We shall take responsibility with our own hands. You will not. That is unnecessary now. Know that your tainted horned people will not be allowed to corrupt our lands any further.
That's quite the rude statement coming from someone who's as much of a monster.
Silence! Know your place, child of man. You are but the priestess of the tainted horned people. Rika's head throbbed with pain again when Tamurahime no Mikoto glanced at her. There was no doubt she was the same as Hanyuu, but it was no longer even necessary to explain that the two beings were at total odds with one another. I never wish to speak with you again by any means. I, the leader of the horned people, and my priestess shall take responsibility for ending this tragedy. You will not. Go home, tainted one. I shall take responsibility for resolving the disaster brought upon my people's lands. You should return to your land of Hinamizawa and be ashamed of your immature charges. Now be gone, Hanyuu and priestess. So is she the god of Okinomiya? A violent shock shook her body, and the very next moment she had returned to the back seat of the car. It was all like a daydream. However, it was undoubtedly real for them. That had been the cold reunion between inhuman beings after centuries, or possibly even millennia.
Who on earth was that?
Tamurahime no Mikoto, the leader of the previous residents who ruled these lands before we ever arrived here.
I see. So there's no reason you'd get along then.
We were refugees, and it was a miracle that we finally reached this land. It was an incredible blessing to us, yet we were coldly rejected by Tamura. That was something that had never been recorded, even in the most ancient documents within the ritual storehouse. It was truly the oldest of myths known only to Hanyuu. We wandered space for a long time in search of a place to live peacefully. After a journey so long it could drive one mad, we finally made it into this beautiful blue planet.
Just what on earth are you people? Always wondered that. You're certainly not some abstract being like a god. You're something that Idia and the others could have studied under a microscope, aren't you?
The cause of the Hinamizawa syndrome was a virus, but there's no way a virus could be sentient. Yet it seemed to be the true identity of Hanyuu's horned people. Rika's guess was correct. Some science fiction stories have posed the idea that humanity is nothing more than a parasite upon Earth. So in that sense, the horned people are no different from humans. Humans are parasites upon the Earth, and they are parasites upon the human brain, which means that to the horned people, the human brain is their land. So Hanyuu is an ant. If humanity continues to destroy the environment, then eventually it'll kill the Earth, and everything living upon it will die along with it. That's why humanity must be kind to Earth and strive to live in harmony with it. The same goes for the horned people. If they cannot coexist with humanity, they will cease to exist at all. In that analogy, Hinamizawa syndrome is their destruction of the environment. When the human becomes paranoid and mad, resorting to self-injury, acts of violence or suicide, then the horned people die with them. Once her reasoning reached that point, Rika finally understood a bit of what Tamura had said at the end, calling them immature. Tamurahime no Mikoto was, most likely, the leader of another supernatural parasite upon humanity. Yet aside from Hinamizawa syndrome, she had never heard any report of similar symptoms anywhere else in Japan, which meant that Tamara's race of people had obtained a means of coexisting peacefully with humanity. However, Hanyuu's horned people had yet to obtain the same skill. That's why they were declared immature. Still, you can argue otherwise as well. Sure, there was a disaster in Onigafuji village back in ancient times, yet they've spent many decades developing unique practices to control themselves and prevent any symptoms. But then a villain, Takano, came and interfered, intentionally conducting research to turn them into a deadly virus. This incident in Hinamizawa wasn't caused by Hanyuu or the horned people. This whole commotion was caused by Takano developing N-173, a new race of ferocious horned people, and spreading them elsewhere.
It doesn't look like that stubborn monster is capable of understanding.
She never listens to anyone. She's always just cold and inflexible.
From her point of view, we're no different from the virus Takano spread, and thus equally guilty. But from our perspective, it's all Takano's fault. She's the one who caused the great disaster. I won't be able to calm down until I punch that woman in the face.
Yes, Rika. I just hope Tamara doesn't get in our way. It would seem the land of Hinamizawa was the land of the horned people, while all the other lands belonged to Tamura's people. Just what is Tamura's people? Also, if she's also a human parasite, does that mean everyone in Japan is... We're about to come up on the town. I don't know what we'll find there, so be careful.
I know. I'll use Oyashiro's power to make sure none of the bad people come to us.
Be better if we never have to test that power of yours at all.
Tomitake, how do you plan to hunt down Takano in a town this large?
He's got the Takano senses, I believe. Right now, Okinomiya is a dangerous town for Takano-san too. Even if she's brought a handgun along, it won't be enough to really protect her. The mountain dogs were annihilated. Right now, Takano was nothing more than a lone woman. She wouldn't be able to last if she was attacked by the murderers wandering around with their terminal symptoms. She's probably taking shelter with a colony of evacuees. Well, it's still dizzying to think about hunting her down. If you're able to use your powers to uncover Takano-san, that would be perfect.
Can you do it, Hanyuu?
If I could, I already would be. Oh. Another possibility would be finding a means of contacting people outside of here. If we're able to contact Tokyo, then we'll have plenty of options. The reassuring thing about Tomitake was that he could act like normal, completely unfazed, even in emergencies like this. That was probably thanks to the effects of the new prophylactic Takano had administered.
I don't know what Takano's thinking. Why did she let Tomitake live? She should have predicted that he'd become her most difficult adversary in this situation.
But she likes him. Even after living 1,000 years, there's still the occasional human completely beyond comprehension. She's one of those people.
True. The one thing we can be sure of is that if we let her have her way, then disaster will spread to all of Japan. No, all the world. I wonder, if that happens, will all the monsters of this world claiming to be gods come to ream you out?
Oh!
Takano was talking about wanting to become a god herself. And there's you and that Tamurahime no Mikoto. I see. The human world doesn't have a say in this matter anymore.
Most likely. If Hanyuu is to be called a god, then there must be a disturbance in their world. Humans have just been caught up in their mess. The more I think about it, the more I realized we're the only ones who could stop this incident. Is this Rika? They should really label who's speaking. It's confusing. Ooh. From what I can see, the office of the Sonozaki group still seems to be safe. Mion and the others had traveled building to building, stopping at one point to pick up some opera glasses to use them as binoculars. After a bit of surveillance, they had a good idea of what actions they could take between the buildings as well as the movements of the surrounding rioters.
Figures they'd be behaving the same as Hinamizawa's neighborhood watch.
Generally, they take up positions hiding behind the barricades, but every time they hear something, they shout and race towards it in a rampage.
It's ridiculous that they think they're acting reasonably.
But now we know their behavior patterns. It also means they were at their hottest back when we first ran into them.
It's not like they're racing around all the time.
Right. For us, that's big news all on its own.
Either way, we'll be unable to do anything without crossing this river. We can't go any further without crossing.
So we go quietly or we go loudly, one or the other. Let's use the cover of night to sneak across. They'll probably set up watches, but it'll still be easier than in broad daylight. I'd rather we take action before your injury gets any worse, Mion. Sure you're doing okay? Heh. Don't count this old man out. A scratch like this is nothing.
Ah! Ow, ow, ow!
Mion raises her arm like she's not the least bit concerned, but there's no way a gunshot wound can heal in less than a day or two. The only thing keeping Mion moving is her own sheer physical and mental strength. The bleeding is stopped, thanks to some amateur first aid, but it's still a wound that needs proper treatment from a medical professional.
Don't push yourself too hard, okay?
It's fine. A wound this small can't stop Sonozaki blood.
If the blood doesn't stop, then we've got a serious problem.
Well, I'm sure we can give it more proper treatment once we get to the office, so we just need to hold out a little longer. So even if it takes time, we definitely need to get to the office.
What are you going to do, Une-chan?
You coming with us? It'll probably be a little lonely here waiting for help that may never come.
Everyone else said the same thing before leaving and getting killed, didn't they? I can understand how you feel. It's not like I don't want to leave here because it's scary. Do you trust us? It's not that I don't. The more I watch you all in action, the less it feels dangerous to stay with you.
Every one of our club members is strong individually, but together we're invincible.
If you're willing to trust us, then we'll definitely protect you. Though that assumes some guarantee that the Sonozaki group's office is safer than it is here.
That's not an issue. They keep all kinds of emergency reserves in there so they can hole up if anything bad happens. Family's seriously good at preparing for things. Our family's policy is to finish fights by the time they start.
We owe you for saving us, Une-san, so we'll repay that debt to you. We'll make sure to bring you somewhere safe. It's not like I'm happy.
Aw? What? That little girl was stuck all alone in this unprecedented disaster. Of course she'd be anxious. At first, we thought she was silent and expressionless, but she was slowly opening up to our energetic club members. This young girl wasn't originally the silent type. She'd just closed her heart off a bit in order to protect it from the shock of this disaster.
Where's your home, Une-chan? It's not like I lived in this town. Huh? Then where is your home?
Don't tell me you got caught up in this mess while hanging out with someone in Okinomiya. You must have been real worried.
Is it far from here? It's not close, but all the bridges are broken and I can't get home.
I see.
That's so sad. But there's one fortunate thing about that.
Right. I suppose there is.
It means that your family's not caught up in this uproar, so they're all safe. Isn't that right? That's right.
That was the one saving grace for her. She knew for certain that her family and her home were safe. The government had destroyed all the tunnels and bridges leading to Shishibone City, so it was physically cut off. That basically meant they were admitting that it would at least take time to determine a solution for this problem. On the other hand, though, since they went that far, they were also able to keep the damage from spreading beyond the city. Those living in the city were probably depressed or enraged, believing that the government had abandoned them. But in terms of the big picture, that was the right call. Thanks to that decision, Une's home was safe. She still had hope. That was how she was able to keep going this long, even amidst crushing despair. Once we understood what she was going through, we all looked down for a moment and then clenched our fists with a growing sense of purpose. If you hadn't rescued us, who knows what would have happened to us?
It's very likely that some of us would have died. The debt we owe you for saving our lives can't be called a cheap one.
Yeah, that's right, Une-chan. Us club members will do everything within our power to ensure you make it home.
Thank you for that.
Operation Crossing will commence tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. We'll use the cover of night to cross the main street in one go and reach the office. I'll be taking the lead and scouting ahead to prepare for the worst. I don't want to think about it, but we can't deny the possibility that everyone in the office has gone crazy too. While Mion warned us about that, she seemed confident it wasn't the case. She was probably able to confirm they retained their sanity when she was observing the office with the opera glasses. We all went to bed early so we'd be in top condition. Satoko set a trap to detect intruders, but it was hard to sleep while fearing the sound of that empty can. Gosh, reading is so hard today. Even so, I definitely fell asleep at some point. Then I woke up to Mion poking me. It's time to get up. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you woke up on time without any alarms.
Bee-chan said you didn't sleep. You were the one who slept soundest of all. Good grief, how bold. It should be pitch black, but it isn't. You're right. Moonlight is surprisingly bright.
Family restaurant. If it really was the moonlight, it might have been a bit romantic. The traffic lights and other illumination were still on, lighting up the city without rest. Unlike Hinamizawa, Okinomiya never had nights of pitch-black darkness. I didn't know if we should consider that fortunate or disadvantageous for our stealth. Are you just going to ignore that the buildings are on fire? Occasionally, there were glimpses of light from flashes on the main street, filled with rows of unoccupied vehicles. They had set up a watch, just as we predicted. But regardless, their guard was still thinner than it was in broad daylight. Okay, we can do this.
We're going to be okay, aren't we? Just leave it to us. There's nothing to fear. We'll cross it easily.
We have our secret weapon, too.
I hope we manage to do this quietly. If we rush in and make a lot of noise, we'll cause issues for those in the office, too.
That's true. From our reconnaissance, it looked like the Sonozaki office was cutting off all contact with the outside. They had set up barricades, and they weren't interacting with the rioters at all. If they had surrendered their hearts to the demons like the rioters had, then they wouldn't be setting up defenses, and they'd be fully participating in the hunt for the infected. But if we were to rush in there while being chased by rioters, then they'd say that the Sonozaki group is harboring the infected and end up causing an uproar. We had to strive for complete stealth. Une slowly unlocked the door leading outside. Opening the door here in Okinomiya, where the streets were basically an ocean teeming with sharks, meant facing the same fear as trying to step into a lion's cage.
It's not like I'm not afraid.
I'll take the lead. If I fail, retreat quickly, just as we planned. Don't even think about trying to save me. Got it? That goes both ways. If I sprain my foot again, abandon me.
We really will this time, so be careful, Keiichi-kun.
That's crazy. Yeah.
The operation will now begin. If something happens, leave it to me.
Satoko was carrying a radio-controlled car she borrowed from somewhere on the second floor. She tested moving it in a straight line with the remote controls, then set it up to drag an empty can fastened behind it. It could be our decoy if the worst happened. However, that sound would draw unwanted attention. It wasn't a trump card to help us reach the office. It was a trump card to buy us a chance to retreat if the operation failed. The success rate of Mion's operation was roughly 95%, but we still couldn't bring the chance of failure down to 0. It was Mion's policy to imagine all possibilities and prepare for each one of them. So to ensure that the worst possible outcome not catch them off guard, she gave the go sign to Satoko's remote control plan. That sentence was worded really weirdly. I didn't like that. I'm heading out. Make sure you stay a fair bit away from me. We carefully opened the door, and once we were certain enough that everything was quiet around us, Mion slipped outside. Unlike Hinamizawa, everything in Okinomiya was covered in concrete, so even the faintest sounds echoed. If you stepped on a small rock on the asphalt, you could hear it from rather far away. Well, might be better going barefoot. Mion took off her shoes. No matter how carefully we walked, the hard rubber soles couldn't silence the sound of pebbles scraping asphalt. Even with socks on, it would hurt a city kid to walk on the surface barefoot. But for us Hinamizawa kids, who always chased each other around, climbing trees barefoot, walking on asphalt with no shoes was nothing.
It's time to see whether or not Keiichi-san, our former city kid, can tolerate going barefoot.
I've trained myself up a lot by now. Don't take me lightly.
Nene-chan, are you okay going barefoot?
It hurts.
I'm sorry. Just bear with it for a little while, okay?
So she's a city girl. Mion poked her head out of the alley and checked on the river with rows of unoccupied cars. It was too easy to see across the wide sidewalk. We'd have to cut across it in one go and duck behind the row of cars. The self-proclaimed watch also realized that clear view meant it was the best place for keeping a lookout. Hold it! Thank you for the hydrate and stretch. We could see them shining a beam of light straight down the sidewalk every now and then with their flashlights. They were excessively frightened and were seeking out an enemy. If they sensed even the slightest presence, they'd cause a lot of noise and summon their friends. This is good. I've been looking for a thrill like this. Mion boldly licked up the sweat trailing down her nose and smiled. Ew! She used hand signs to signal her friends to wait and calculated her timing. The watch's lights were restless. They wandered back and forth, glancing everywhere in fidgety motions. Their fear left them needing to light up every shadow, so that anxiety created plenty of openings. Now. Quick and nimble like a cat, Mion dashed across the sidewalk and ducked into the row of cars. It went so quickly and easily that all her prior tension seemed misplaced. Keiichi and the others heaved a heavy sigh of relief as they watched from the shadows. Keiichi, the second one up, was about to follow after her, but Mion gave them the sign to hold. It looked like she wanted to carefully cross the river of cars and check on the sidewalk on the opposite bank. Shoot. That's bad. When she had scouted it from the roof right before commencing the operation, there wasn't anyone over there. But at some point, 3 men from the watch had taken up posts on the opposite shore. They were heading right towards her. She wasn't exposed just yet. They were just walking around and shining lights randomly at the cars. Mion calmly found a truck with a high frame and slid underneath it. It's okay. It's okay. They haven't spotted us. If they had noticed us, would they be walking so carelessly? Even if she was 99% certain she was safe, she could feel herself sweating. Pathetic, Mion Sonozaki. To think I'd be sweating this badly over a little hide-and-seek. Make sure you don't overlook any infected. Well, their brains are damaged. Plus, they'll try and bite us and spread the virus further. You're the ones with damaged brains, though, Mion smirked. Still, once their feet stopped in front of the truck she hid under, her smile froze. Did they find her?
We're done for. Calm down. They're not acting like they have. They're getting in.
The men from the watch climbed up on the bed of the truck Mion had hidden under. Apparently, there were folding chairs or something inside the truck bed. The men then sat down on them, which meant the men had taken position directly above Mion. She was practically a bug pinned in place. Hey, seriously? Sweat dripped from Mion's forehead. Keiichi and the others understood the situation just as well. Mion couldn't move at all. There was no guaranteeing they wouldn't hear anything when she crawled out from under the truck. Not only that, but Mion couldn't see what was going on above her at all. Even if she were able to slip out without making a sound, there was no guarantee they wouldn't happen to look around and catch sight of her. Mion couldn't move from there until they left that post.
It's not like I know what to do. Is it finally time for our secret weapon?
Only as a last resort. We could save Mion, but that would cause way too much noise.
Still, get it ready!
Satoko nodded, set up her remote-controlled car on the sidewalk, and fastened the empty can to it. Once we let it loose, it was sure to draw their attention. Either way, the operations failed. We need to create an opening for Mion to make her escape. It'll be better to try again later.
I agree. We just had bad timing. Let's try again.
The club members knew exactly when to pull out thanks to our many dangerous club activities. Naturally, Mion was thinking the same thing. Keiichi and the others would probably create a chance for her to escape. She'd have to slip out in that moment. Still, they had to wait for a time. There was still a chance the men in the bed above her would stand back up and go off somewhere else. Even if they managed to retreat, causing an uproar now would make it even more difficult to cross the river a second time. Even though Mion had practically had a pin pushed through her heart, we had to stay calm and wait for our chance at victory. We should get Une-chan back to safety first. She wasn't used to being barefoot. She might have trouble running full tilt if it came down to that.
Keiichi-kun, take Une-chan and secure a retreat. Satoko-chan, watch my back. Leave it to me. Keiichi-san, you've got a great responsibility.
I know. I'll leave this to you two. Let's go, Une-chan.
Yes.
Keiichi took Una and left for the time being. He thought he'd face death in Hinamizawa, but Hinamizawa was full of nothing but old people. Plus, they had the home ground advantage there. But they were playing an away game under different rules in Okinomiya. If I'd known this was going to happen, I would have played around here more. Una was panting. No one could blame her. Things were so tense. Her breathing was ragged from both exhaustion and fear. Let's rest a moment and catch our breath. Who's that girl? Her name is Une. We don't know all that much about her right now.
Who is this tiny child? Thank you.
While Une calmed her breathing, Keiichi sharpened his senses and searched for anyone nearby. He sensed one. Not good. Someone's coming.
Huh?
I hear several footsteps. It's the watch. There was hardly anywhere to hide. Make her hair pink and then it's literally Renary IRL. Excuse you, I'm not a tiny child! But yes, my hair is pink, it's true. The underside of it, anyway. If they screwed up and got caught, their escape route would be cut off. They couldn't take any risks. There were no other streets. They had to turn back and pray the men went somewhere else. But the main street was the primary artery for their watch circuit. You could be, but I'm not. There was a high probability they would head directly towards Rena and the others. Let's head back. We can't run into them here.
We're going back again? Attacking us from both sides?
That might happen. Anyway, let's head back. Keiichi's prediction was spot on. They didn't go down any other street and headed straight for the main road. There were 4 young men about college age carrying bent metal bats. At this rate, they'd attack Rena and the others from the rear.
We're pincered in? That's bad! Well, isn't that interesting? I hardly thought I'd get to feel as much suspense as I do during club activities.
Anpo Riot's vibe? I don't know what that is, but I'll take your word for it. There's no way back. So then, what do we do?
You don't mean... do you? If we can't go back, then we'll have to go forward.
Japanese men with metal bats rioting in Japan in the 60s. Yeah, sounds pretty similar to me.
We'll have a chance to use a remote control trap to draw the enemy's attention, and then seize that chance to advance.
It was a dangerous strategy. We'd probably be able to get out of this pinch. But once they started shouting, the rest of the watch would wake up all at once. If we get unlucky enough to run into them on our way forward, we'd be trapped like rats. If it's just 2 or 3 people, then we can handle them somehow with our club members' full might. But if the uproar brings a huge crowd chasing after us, then we'll just be kids unable to fight back. Still, even with a few misfortunes thrown our way, this wasn't a game with no chance of victory.
Satoko-chan, ready your trap. Ready whenever you are.
Sidewalk's clear. We can cross now.
Go! Satoko-chan, do it! Leave it to me.
Let's go, Una-chan. Run!
It's not like I can't run.
We all crossed at once and ducked into the row of cars, but there was no way to prevent the men in the truck from noticing our dash. The moment they looked over to see what it was, Satoko's remote control trap activated. The car dragged the empty can fastened to it, making a loud metal noise as it raced down the sidewalk. I feel at some point someone should just bring out a Run for China. I mean, they're in Japan. They can't run to China. There's too much sea. What's that sound? They're running. After them. It has to be the infected. Their paranoia and fear turned into violent aggression and anger. Surely China is safer than Hinamizawa or Okinomiya? Yes, but they can't run there. They'd have to get across the ocean. The men in the truck leapt onto car roofs and car hoods, chasing after the loud remote control car. I know Tokyo wouldn't be safe for them. I think Tokyo is safe for now, though. Tokyo is actually safe for now. They just can't get there because they blocked off all the bridges and tunnels and stuff. The silence of night was shattered with angry cries and whistles blasting from here and there. The city's madness was awakened, but Mion was released from her prison under the truck. What are you doing? It's still too early for that! We were pincered. We had to set it off.
Una-san, time to show us what you're made of.
Wouldn't the Tokyo group just hunt them down? Well, I think, because all the mountain dogs are dead right now, so it's just Takano. And I don't think the other people in Tokyo are, like, as capable as the mountain dogs, so I feel like it should be fine. Plus, also, Tokyo is really big. Like the city, not the group.
We can't go back. There's more coming that way.
One after another, riders with bloodshot eyes dashed out of the alley everyone had just been hiding in. There must have been a building or something housing them all nearby. The option of turning back and returning Returning to safety was cut off. We had to move forward. If we have to go forward, then forward we go. There's not much distance left. I just prayed the Sonozaki group hasn't forgotten what you look like.
Ketchan, you sure say some funny things. Don't let your guard down. We can't relax until we made it inside the Sonozaki group's office. Agreed. There's still a chance Shion-san might say, "Who the heck are you?"
True. More importantly, Mion, don't forget your promise to belly dance for us. You said you would when Une-chan lowered that ladder.
Did I say that? Une-chan, hang in there. Just a little further.
It's right around that corner. Huh? I think Mion completely let her guard down. All we had left was to cut the tape at the finish line after our final spurt. I'm sure that's what she thought. But the finish line wasn't something we could cut through. Huh? What's going on? What is this? The street was sealed off with a barbed wire mesh. Either the Sonozaki group did it to secure their safety in front of their office, or the rioters did it to keep infected from coming through, but we didn't know which. Regardless, the reality was that the street was blocked off with the office right in front of us. If we had known about this barricade ahead of time, our strategy would have been greatly different. We could only call it bad luck. It was in a perfect blind spot from the angle Mion had when scouting it with the opera glasses. That slight blind spot unfortunately brought a second misfortune with this barricade. It wasn't impossible to climb over it if you were prepared to hurt yourself on the barbed wire, but we couldn't force that on Une, who didn't have the resolve of us club members.
Alternative routes?
There's one, if we swing around from the alley across. That was when bright beams of light shone upon us all. Who are you all? Whoa, there! It's the infected! Our blood froze. We were finished. Une couldn't bear the fear any longer and let out a piercing scream. We were out of options. Our opponents had beaten us in build, ferocity, and numbers as well. The rioters gathered together one after another, surrounding us and trapping us in the barricaded alley. Shion lock in. That was when several dry shots rang out. Mion quickly shouted, "Down!" and pushed our heads to the ground. The rioters, who didn't recognize the sound of gunshots, stood there bewildered. Tomitake! Gentlemen, that's enough. Unlawful lynching is unacceptable no matter the circumstance. It was the sound of Tomitake firing into the air with a submachine gun he took out of the Iria Institution's security room. Maybe the rioters thought it was just a model gun or something, but they showed no fear, and only glared at Tomitake for interrupting their hunt. With Okinomiya's medical facilities paralyzed right now, even a shot to the leg could prove fatal. Tomitake didn't want to shoot, but he gulped as the rioters proved unfazed. I don't want to shoot you all.
Leave this to me. Hanyuu!
Comrades of mine, calm your spirits. I am Oyashiro-sama, your leader. Hanyuu's stern words rang out solemnly for inhuman ears. The rioters stopped and stood still, their mouths wide open. Eventually, they sat down directly on the ground and waited absent-mindedly. Even if Takano had modified them to be more ferocious, they were still Hanyuu's brethren. They couldn't escape the power of her words. Quick, use wind sickles, Chiru. The eyes of Mion and the others went wide with shock, but they realized this was their narrow chance to get out alive. The AoE will defeat them all. Hanyuu's AoE sure did.
Everyone, go now!
Stone throw. I don't know how much rocks are gonna do to these guys, but they have, I think Rena has a machete in her sprite. It might be something else, I'm not sure. And then Keiichi has a bat. I'm sure they can do it. What is this? What's going on?
Oyashiro power, Nippa. Thank you for rescuing us, Rika-chan, Tomitake-san.
Turn them into kimchi and then consume them? Ew. I don't like kimchi. We heard the commotion. You made the right choice rushing over. What were you all doing out here?
The office of the Sonozaki group is just beyond here.
Sashimi? I don't like sashimi either. I'm picky. You weren't aware of the barricade and got cornered like rats. Pathetic. You cut it that close with my sis on your side? Shion! Shion! Shion, Kasai, and a few other men in black outfits approached from behind the barricade. Every one of them carried a gun, but none of them had the ferocious expressions of the rioters. Seems the Sonozaki group had retained their sanity and focused on holding up inside. If you had to turn someone into any sort of food, what would it be? I'm not gonna lie, even if I turned someone into food, I don't know if I would eat them. So they can be whatever they want. I'm not touching it. Please, give us a break, will you? We don't want to get involved with those crazies.
We're sorry for causing such a stir. If you're safe, Shion-san, then we have nothing to fear anymore.
That's right. I'm more reliable than 10 of my sister, all by myself. Kasai, open it for them. Come in, everyone. Kasai unlocked the padlock on the chain securing the barricade's doors shut. What? Hold on. Kasai unlocked the padlock on the chain securing the barricade's doors shut. Okay, there we go. Still, what on earth is going on? What happened to them?
What on earth? You don't need to worry about them. If you leave them alone, they'll eventually wander off.
Now, why don't we just appreciate this chance granted to us through Oyashiro-sama's miracles? Come on, Una-chan. You're safe now.
There's nothing to worry about now that we have Shion-san with us, too.
That's right. Satoko understands at least. By the way, who's this girl?
Hello there.
She's Una-chan. She saved our lives.
What's the matter, Hanyuu?
Turning them into boba for you to drink? I don't wanna drink them, though. They're human. Ew. Yuck. You are. We all slipped through the barricade and were welcomed into the Sonozaki group's office. Ew, crunchy boba sounds nasty. But that sight was being observed from far away through binoculars. Takano? I found you. That's the girl.
Una is the demon? The devil? She's evil?
Crazy. Oh my gosh, my voice is gone. Get her! Unfortunate. We're gonna end Higurashi here for today.